Before there was language, before there was economy, there was the exchange. Long before humans developed the concept of the gift, the natural world was already built on the architecture of the offering. We see it in the Antarctic cold, where a penguin presents a simple pebble, a humble building block for a home, and a foundational promise of partnership. We see it in the curious intelligence of the crow, offering a glint of metal to a human hand, a reach across species, testing the potential for trust. And we see it in the deep canopy, where bonobos share a portion of food, a gesture that softens the social hierarchy and binds the group together in empathy. In the wild, an offering is rarely just a thing. It is a negotiation. It is a bird proving its worth, a bat securing its future, or a primate diffusing a conflict. Nature isn't generous for the sake of charity. It is generous because it is the most efficient way to survive in a crowded, competitive world. But somewhere along the evolutionary timeline, we took this instinct and transformed it. We kept the biology, but we added something new. Meaning, we turned the pebble into a ring, the shared food into a feast, and the survival gesture into a sacred ritual. We learned that giving is not a loss, but a strategy for survival. By providing for others, we build social safety, weaving a web of trust that ensures we are never truly alone. And beyond survival, we found that giving creates meaning. It is the act that confirms our value to one another and gives our own lives weight and purpose. This is the story of how a simple biological impulse to reach out to another became the very foundation of our civilization. From the instinct to survive to the need to love, we are defined by what we choose to give away. But the deeper we look into the evolution of our giving, the more we realize that every hand we reach out to and every gift we bestow is simply a reflection of a much larger, singular act. Every coconut we break, every flower we offer, every incense stick we light, and every deepa we kindle. These are not isolated gestures. They are echoes of a fundamental truth. This brings us to the core of our study. As we enter the final movement of Chapter 1 of the Shiva Atharvaśīrṣa, we are invited to set aside the ritual and touch the reality behind it. We are left with the two most profound questions of this Upanishad. First, what is the ultimate offering? And second, who is the ultimate recipient of all that we give? To answer this, we turn to the commentary of Upaniṣad Brahma Yogin, who shows us that when the seeker and the source become one, the act of offering finally finds its home.
Rudra Jnanaphalam Mamyo Veda Sarvan Devan Veda Gam Gobir Brahmanan Brahmanena Havishim Havisha Ayurayusha Satyam Satyena Dharmam Dharmena Tarpayāmi Tarpayāmi.
He who knows me, Rudra, as the Supreme Self, knows all the gods. I, as the Divine Consciousness, satisfy the earth through the rays of light, the sun. I satisfy the wise through the power of knowledge. I satisfy the offerings through the essence of the ritual. I satisfy life through the life force, prana. I satisfy truth through truth itself. And I satisfy righteousness through the power of virtue. I satisfy the entire creation.
Mam yevam pidam veda soyam munihi sarvan devan matsvarupataya veda tadadrupamasyaya vairaja bhavam vaikunta bhavam vetya swamshaja jivajatam tarpayāmi mit.
The text states, the seeker who knows me in this way is the true sage, Muni, who perceives all the deities as none other than my own form. By assuming that Rudra nature, the seeker realizes both the cosmic state, Vairja, this entire visible universe, and the transcendental state, Vakuha, that absolute reality beyond all physical bounds. I satisfy the entire multitude of living beings born from my own essence.
इस पृथ्वी को तृप्त करता हूँ।
गोभिः स्वादिष्ट्य सूर्य रश्मिभिः गां भूमिर्तर्पयामि ब्रह्मण्ये पादक कर्मणा ब्रह्माणान् तर्पयामिति सर्वत्रानुषज्यते.
It means I satisfy this earth, Bhami, through the rays of the sun, through the power of ritual action, karma, and the realization of Brahman. I satisfy the wise. I satisfy the span of life and the individual life force, pra, through the very form of the vital breath. I satisfy worldly reality through the absolute truth. I satisfy the entire multitude of beings born from the self through the power of righteousness, dharma.
Utadiha visha havimshi charupuroda shadini ayusha mrugavya prana rupena ayuhu vyashti pranam tarpayami paramatika satyena vyavaharikadi satyam tarpayami स्वात्मज्ञानदारानहर धर्मेण अभ्युदयेह तूर्दमजातं तर्पयामि आवृत्तिस्तर्पयामिति सर्वत्रानुवृत्त्यर्थ.
I satisfy the offerings, Havimsi, through the essence of the oblations, Havi. I satisfy the span of life, Ayub, and the individual life force, Pran A, through the very form of the vital breath. I satisfy worldly reality, Vyavharikta Satya, through the absolute truth, Paramarthika Satya. I satisfy the entire multitude of beings born from the self through the power of righteousness, dharma, supported by self-knowledge. This act of satisfying is a continuous thread that sustains everything everywhere. Upaniṣad Brahma Yogin concludes this first chapter by defining the true Muni. A Muni is not defined by external appearance, but by internal surrender. It is the seeker, Mumukku, who has performed the ultimate offering, the sacrifice of the mind, the intellect, and the ego, the very root cause of our ignorance, Avidyā. How does this manifest in our everyday lives? When you face the pressures of work or societal expectations, choosing to set aside the ego to act with integrity is the offering of the intellect. When you choose patience and understanding over conflict within your relationships, that is the offering of the mind. Always remember, every small act of charity, every quiet gesture of kindness, and every offering you make is ultimately bestowed upon Rudra. Cultivate this attitude in every offering you perform. Realize that the ultimate offering is the offering of the mind itself. By constantly engaging in activities centered on Rudra, such as japa and the study of the Shiva scriptures, surrender your ego to Rudra, recognizing him as the true self of the entire world. Never take pride in the superiority of worldly intelligence. If we adopt this perspective, we can convert our entire life into a living offering. Every breath and every duty, when performed with this awareness, transforms into an act of worship. And here, we conclude our commentary on the first chapter of the Shiva Atharvaśīrṣa. We have explored how, by recognizing ourselves as manifestations of Rudra, we can transform every mundane act into a sacred sacrifice. Thank you for walking this path with me. This is not an end, but a bridge. In our next installment, we will journey into the Dev Devat Stuti, the second chapter, where we will offer our salutations to that same divine power as it manifests in the diverse forms of the gods and goddesses around us. Until then, remember to live every moment as an offering. Namaste.